All right, good morning, guys. Good to see everybody. Day one, felt like we got a ton of work done. As we talked yesterday, you're always, trying to evaluate and see where guys are at. And like I said, I think, from a physical standpoint, we put them through a pretty tough practice. Even though we're not in pads and those type of things, they're not used to, a 2 hour and 55-minute, practice, and that's basically what we were out there for, and they did a nice job of pushing through that thing. And, first day back is always, no matter how hard you train, you can never get ready for training camp. But from a physical standpoint, they did a great job. Mental standpoint, we wanted to see how much retention there was, on both sides of the ball and special teams, and they did a great job of that. Very few, mental errors and mistakes, and pretty clean practice. And quarterback was, outstanding. All of them were, and got big plays out of our skill position. There was, again, defensively, offensively, special teams-wise, we got a lot of good work done.
On paper, this offense looks like it could be dynamic. Did you like what you saw? Granted, only day one, but did you like what you saw from that side yesterday?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, we're trying to, develop that chemistry, build on the communication from a run game standpoint, pass protection standpoint, making big plays. It's well documented, obviously, that, we've got some skill guys across the board, from the backfield to the tight ends to the wide receivers, where, we have a chance to be pretty good there. So I thought, again, from day one, the execution was pretty good.
Coach, going back to OTAs, mini camps, now the training camp, what do you make of this competition for center? What do you expect to see out of the two guys?
Just like any other position, they're out there, grinding away, working with, college working with the first unit right now. That's no mystery. John's working with the second unit. You always have to have contingency plans, so we've got other guys, taking some snaps. We're trying to develop, everybody on this football team. We got a 90-man roster right now, so we have to develop everybody, and we're taking time out to double up, if you will, and get the young guys, as many reps, more reps as we can. So there's guys like David Arkin, that'll move in there. There's we got a rookie in there at times doing it, but basically Colin's been taking the first team snaps right now. John's taking the second team snaps. We'll work John in some with the first team unit, and he'll get some meaningful snaps with the first group. And it's day one. It's day one. So we're going to evaluate it on a daily basis and try to get them prepared and ready to go for that first preseason game, and then see where we're at.
So with all the changes on the offensive line that you've had, the constant for you has been Anthony at left tackle. Can you just talk about the comfort level, if that's the right phrase, of having that guy?
No, it's great. He's been the one guy, like you said, that's been there, the whole time, day in and day out, and he's a guy that you lay your head on the pillow at night and you know that. From a consistency standpoint, availability standpoint, trust, work ethic, smarts, competes, all that stuff. He's been the one guy that's been the one constant, like you said, and and he's becoming, it's really his room now, and he's the leader of that room, and he did a great job in the offseason. I mean, he's a tireless worker, so. Obviously, having the guy sitting there, protecting the blind side of your quarterback, we feel really good. Obviously, fortunate that we have AAC there.
Coach, can you speak to Andrew Luck's development over the last 3 years coming into this camp?
Yeah, I mean, you guys have seen the same thing, that we've seen, and tremendous, walking in the door. But again, he does a great job of evaluating himself, attention to detail, his work ethic. All those type of things. He's another guy that is pretty hard on himself, in the right way. And, he demands excellence from himself. And, the skill set's there. From a communication standpoint, we put a lot on his back, as you guys know. And he puts a lot on himself. But progressions, reads, throws, accuracy, all those type of things. He's done nothing but grow and develop and get better with every season, and we've got some things that we need to correct. 2 years ago we led the league in fewest turnovers, and that's something that we need to get back to, and we're going to make an emphasis in this training camp on making sure to we know when the play's over, when the down's over, when to say when. Take some calculated risks at time, but again, don't get greedy and don't make, as Andrew calls them, those bonehead plays, and try to eliminate those things.
Chuck, with Kendall Langford, do you see him as dynamic, and how does he? How can he assert himself against the run? That's kind of how he's made his reputation, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to find out. We can all go back and look at the tape. We brought him here, for a reason. There's a lot of things that we liked, about Kendall, and so. We're going to find out. You're going to find out. I'm going to find out. Everybody's going to find out, once we put the pads on and once we start playing. But we have a pretty good idea that, he's a big, long, athletic, strong guy. He's a smart guy. He understands the scheme. He plays with great technique. Not only be a run stopper for us at the 5 technique, but, a guy that can, give you a good pass rush inside on pass rush downs as a sub rusher.
I mean, I think a lot of. We know your big headline offseason pickups, a lot more on offense. I think that's fair to say. Other than Trent Cole and Langford, but on defense, how much of this equation is just guys got to play better? I mean, you're raising that bar for them, aren't you? I mean, it's
for all of us. It's for all of us. It goes for myself and entire staff and every player here. I think we all understand what's at stake and where we want to go, and if we want to get back to that game. And have a chance to compete, and win that game and give ourselves a chance to play, for it all. Our goal and our vision hasn't changed, and we all got to be better.
Chuck, when you talk about your run defense, Josh Chapman has shown flashes, but just the importance of his ability to get pressure and to push that center off the line of scrimmage.
No, that position is vital. To our run defense and to the success that we have on defense, and those guys got to be stout. I mean, they got to command double teams. They have to be able to knock them back. They got to create a new line of scrimmage, and Josh has shown, like you said, flashes that. But now it's consistency. We need consistency not only from him, but everybody on the defensive side of the football. We got to communicate. We got to be on the same page, and everybody's got to do their job.
So your defense, it starts like inside out. The nose tackle has. If he doesn't do his job, is it sort of compromise the rest of the defense?
I think with any scheme that you run, you always want to be strong up the middle. So nose guard, in a 3-4 scheme. If you're in an over front, a 4-3 scheme, your 2 defensive tackles, commanding double teams, being able to make plays when they do single you, middle linebacker position, free safety position. You got to be strong up the middle.
Chuck, your relationship with your players goes off the field with a lot of them. Has it always been like that for you? A lot of coaches football, and it stops. You don't subscribe to that, do you?
Yeah, that's been my philosophy ever since I was a little boy growing up and going to work with my dad and watching him coach and the way that he built relationships with his staff and with his coaches and with his players and with everybody in the organization. And I don't think unless there's a relationship there and there's trust there, it's really hard to get guys to buy in and do the things that you want them to do. And to me, we got to have each other's back, and guys got to know that that you care about them, and it isn't just about football. Again, the game's going to fade, but we'd say the relationships, are for life, and so something that's very, very important to me, and it's been important to me for a long time.
So, Coach, with Hugh Thornton, he came in here as a rookie and I think started 12 games. Played well at times. Has he developed as you hoped? And where is he at right now? Because I think Lance is getting almost all the first team reps right now. Where is Hugh at, and what's he need to do?
I think he's in a good spot right now. Not going to make any excuses for anybody, but he's battled some injury stuff. So right now, mentally and physically, he's in a great place, and now he just needs to be consistent, just like anybody else, and go out there and compete, at a high level, be productive. Do all the things. He's a very, very talented guy, as we all know, and if you're going to, draw up, an offensive guard, in the National Football League, here's how they're going to look, from a physical standpoint, athletic standpoint. He's got all the tools, that we're, looking for to be successful at that position. So now it's just a matter of applying everything and being consistent.
Coach, we talked to the offensive line, a couple of the offensive line guys, and they said they came in with a chip on their shoulder. They really want to get the running game going. Is that a point of emphasis? I mean, is that a real point of emphasis for you guys getting it going?
Yeah, I've talked about it since I've been here. I don't think you can, be a championship football team unless you can run the football and stop the run. And there's going to be times, obviously, we all know we could drop back and throw it with the best of them. We got a quarterback that's as good as anybody, in this league, and we got skill guys that we can throw to, and guys that can, win matchups and beat one-on-one coverage and all those type of things. But it's down in the trenches, and again, you're going to attack everybody differently. In a game, games are going to play out differently, but certainly it's a mindset, and it's something that I think we're all determined to come out of training camp with an identity, in the run game.
Chip, the value of training camp is generally ones versus ones. And what's the value of, again, the defense going against this offense and the offense going against your defense?
Man sharpens man, like iron sharpens iron. So it's all about competition. And these guys, they love to compete because that's how Sundays are going to be. So if we don't apply the pressure, from an offensive standpoint on our defense and vice versa, we're not going to prepare ourselves for preseason games and our opener against Buffalo. And so we got to compete at a high level, and it's not. It's about making the other guy better and not crossing the line and going over the top. It's all about making the other guy better. And, if the competition out here is fierce and the guys are competing at a very high level and we're putting the pressure on each other and we're stressing, people and making them uncomfortable, there's got to be anxiety, there's got to be commotion, there's got to be stuff that goes on in order to grow, in order to change. Because if it's not tough, come Sunday, we all know it's going to be. And so we'd love to make practice a hell of a lot tougher than the game. And so that's what we're here to do, is compete.
With your background on defense, do you take sides out here when last guys make plays or not?
I try to level the playing field as much as I can. Otherwise, I'm gonna catch it, from the guys. But no, we're a team, and we're rooting for all these guys, and we're trying to develop all these guys. And whether a guy makes a play on defense, guy makes a play on offense. I mean, now I'll gravitate at meetings and practice and things like that towards one side of the field probably more than others, just because of my nature. I mean, I can't fight that battle. But
DeQuell says he trash talks with Pep.
What,
back and forth.
What's that?
I said DeQuell says he trash talks with like Pep and the coaches more than players.
Yeah.
Don't you like that? I mean, don't you like that banter back and forth and flip?
Absolutely. Brings out the best in everybody. Thanks, guys.